Sometimes we need to be with our feelings. We need to create space for our feelings. We need to feel our feelings. And sometimes we need to snap ourselves out of it. We need to get ourselves out of a funk, especially if it's not that we're processing through a really intense emotion or a really difficult experience, and we just find ourselves in a bit of a funk and we can't seem to just get out of it. I'm going to teach you how to hack your mind, how to hack your brain, how to get your brain focused on something else so that it can turn your mood around and help you to start feeling better right away. If you're new here, welcome to our amazing little corner on the internet. And if you're back again, welcome here. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Kristina, and I'm a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of the Breakthrough Coaching Program. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help heart-centered go-getter men and women break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And these mindset hacks, these are for those times when you're feeling off, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling depleted, and you want to just snap out of it, but you can't seem to. Maybe your brain is coming in and telling you all kinds of things that are not helpful, that are not productive, that are not serving, and you can't just get over it. What are we going to do? How are we going to get in there and turn this one around? First thing that you are going to do, and this is especially for those times when your brain is telling you things like you're a loser, you're not good enough, you don't have what it takes, and your brain is telling you that stuff, and because your brain wants to be right, what it's going to do during those times is it's going to start gathering every piece of evidence that it can to confirm those thoughts that are going through your head. So it's going to start thinking about every single time in your life when you have failed. And it's going to put it in your face and say, see, you are a failure. Look, you failed this time when you were 13. You failed this time when you were 18. You failed this time when you were 22. And this time when you were 30, or whatever it is. And it's going to gather all these little bits of evidence over a very long period of time. And it's going to put them all together in kind of this box and shove it in your face and say, see, I told you, you are a failure, or you're a loser, or you're not good enough, or you're a reject. Because, like I said, your brain wants to be right. And so it's going to try and gather pieces of evidence over a very long period of time and make you think that this is the hard and fast truth. So to counter this one, what I want you to do, and maybe even sit down right now with a pen and paper and do this, or right after you watch this video, is I want you to take a success inventory. I want you to sit down and I want you to think of every piece of evidence that you can, that counters those thoughts of being a loser or a reject or no good or a failure, every single one that you can think of that come to mind, over however long of a period that you want. You could probably even do it over the past couple months and talk about successes that you've had, and that would counter this years of your brain telling you, gathering this other evidence over this very long period of time, these little snapshots that they're making, your brain's trying to make you believe is the entire truth, which if you take the success inventory, you will show your brain that this is not true, that these things have happened, but it's not an indicative of who you are as a person. Share with us in the comment section below what's something that you're proud of yourself for. What's one bit of success that you've had in any area of your life over the last little while. Change the perspective, change the narrative, change the thoughts, and it will change your mood. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to think of 5 things that you're grateful for, but this is not your typical gratitude list. I want you to think of 5 of the smallest things that you typically take for granted, and I want you to think about those, and I want you to think about how grateful you are for those things. This is one of my favorite things to do whenever I am getting all just kind of worked up about seemingly ridiculous things, and my brain is just taking on a mind of its own and taking me in all kinds of unhelpful places when I'm being a bit of a whiny baby. And I sit down and I think about these just small things, like a roof over my head, like running water in the faucet, like a fridge full of food that I can walk to any time and nourish my body, like a warm bed to sleep in, Whatever that is, I want you to even share with us in the comment section, what are 5 really small things that you normally take for granted, but are actually huge things. They're small, but they're actually really huge, and share with us in the comment section below. The next one is to think of something that you're looking forward to, no matter how big or small. And research shows that it's actually not the event itself, the happy event or the pleasurable event or the thing that we are looking forward to. It's not actually experiencing the event that gives us the most enjoyment, the most happiness. It's more so the anticipation of that event and then the memories from that event. Because if you think about it, you can only experience the event for that small period of time. Maybe it's a few minutes or a few hours, or at the most for on a lovely vacation, a couple days. But you can experience the excitement for it and the anticipation of it for days, weeks, maybe even months beforehand. And then afterwards, the memories from that, you can keep those with you for as long as you want. And so taking advantage of this one, thinking of one small thing, it can be small, actually it can be small or big, a vacation that you're taking, a get together with a friend that you're going to be having. For me, honestly, one of the things that I look forward to every single day is I have this ritual. After my kids go to bed and I sit down and I do some work and then I get ready for bed. And before I go to bed, I have a cup of decaf coffee and a piece of multigrain toast with peanut butter and jam. And I look so forward to that. So even after my kids go to bed, if I'm tired, but I still have some work to do and I'm feeling kind of like being a bit of a baby about it, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then I'll think about that and I'll be like, okay, I just need to get my work done. And then I get to sit down and I get to have my coffee and my toast. And I am so excited about that. It's so silly. And every single day, pretty much every single day for I don't know how many years I've been doing this. And I love it so much. And I still look forward to it every single day. And it helps pull me out of a funk, especially when it comes to the end of the day and having to still do things like even cleaning up the kitchen and making the kids lunches for tomorrow and doing some laundry. I'm like, oh, I've got all this stuff to do and this sucks. It doesn't really suck. It's just stuff and I'm just being, whiny about it. But then thinking about that, just have to get this done and then I get to have my toast and coffee. So let us know too in the comment section below, what's one thing that you are looking forward to, no matter how big or small. The next one, I do this check-in a lot with my coaching students in my breakthrough coaching program. We check in about this one quite often because our brain likes to go off course, because our brain has a mind of its own and it often likes to think about things and take us down trails that are not super helpful, that are not super uplifting, that are not super serving, that are not super healthy. And so turning the train around, I don't think this is really turning a train around. What's the saying? Turn the boat around. Turn the boat around. Turn the bus around. One of those. You're going to turn it around. You know what I'm saying. And to think of one thing that you need to remind yourself of right now. This one, I think, is probably the most powerful thing that we can do, because our brain, and again, that natural negative bias in our brain that was there originally to keep us safe and alive, right? So we have this natural negative bias in our brain because it needed to be on alert and sussing out danger all the time, because there was a lot more danger back in like caveman days or whatever. And you had to be on high alert because there weren't things like houses and structures and alarm systems and all these things. And so now our brain has this natural negative bias. And so it will take us down rabbit holes pretty easily. And so thinking about one thing you need to remind yourself of right now. What's one thing that you need to hear from yourself? And if you don't know exactly what you need to hear, think about one thing that you really need to hear from someone else. If a dear friend, if someone that you just love and value and feel good about yourself when you're with, if they were to come up to you and say one thing to you right now, what would be the thing that would give you all kinds of all the warm fuzzies and all the good feelings inside? What is that one thing? Maybe even it's a word of encouragement that you need to hear from yourself. Maybe you need to remind yourself of how awesome you are in this moment, especially if you're telling yourself that you suck. Maybe you just need to remind yourself of how great you are and how much you have going for you, and pull those things out. Again, back to that success inventory. Pull out something that you need to remind yourself of, that you need to hear from yourself. The next one, And this is similar to that last one. I want you to think about the bravest, most courageous thing that you have ever done. I don't know if that's something that you did for yourself or something that you did for someone else. What was something that you have done in your life that you are so proud of yourself for, where you overcame something, where you broke through a barrier in some way and you made something happen? What was that? I really want to hear this one. If you will let us know in the comment section below, what is one of the bravest and most courageous things that you have ever done? Tell us, will you? And then number 6, and this one, I love this one. Oh my gosh, you guys, I keep saying I love all of them. I love all of them because of how powerful they are when we do them. I want you to think right now about what one of the nicest things that someone has ever said to you at any point in your life. And when I think about this one, this reminds me of a time in my life. This was a long time ago. I think I was like 17 or 18 years old. And it was the first time I really fell in love with someone. And it was this guy who was a few years older than me, and we got along so well and we had so much fun together, and I liked him so much. And we started we started talking and we started hanging out, but we weren't dating. And he never asked me. I don't even know what they call it these days. Oh my gosh, I sound so old right now. But we were never actually officially dating. We were just hanging out. And I wanted to have a relationship with him, and I thought he wanted to have a relationship with me too. And I thought he said that he was just getting over his ex and he just needed some time and he wasn't ready to get into anything else. And because I was so in love with him, I was like, great, no problem. I'm not going anywhere. I'll do whatever you want. I'll wait as long as you want. Looking back now, probably not the most healthy choice, but I can't blame my 17-year-old self who was in love for the first time. And then I remember one day he called me. And he's like, Julia, I have something to tell you. And I thought that that was going to be the moment that he told me that he was going to tell me that he wanted to make our relationship official. But instead, what he told me is that he had met someone and they had started dating. He called me to tell me that he had a girlfriend now. And I was shattered, to say the least. It was, yeah. You know, if that's ever happened to you, you know exactly how that feels and how painful, how awful that is, especially the first time, maybe all the times, but the first time, that was a big one. And I remember a couple days later, I was out at a park with one of my guy friends. I had a lot of guy friends in high school. When I think about it now, I never even really thought about it. But anyways, I was with one of my guy friends and we were talking about this, and he was friends with this other guy who I had been in love with. And we were talking about it, and I was telling him how heartbroken I was and how much of a loser. I felt like I'm such a loser. I'm so pathetic. I totally was like chasing after this guy and he didn't even like me and I'm not good enough and all the things, and having my little pity party. And then my friend looked at me. And I will never forget it. And he looked at me and he's like, Julia, you are amazing. And I just burst into tears. And I was like, that is exactly what I needed to hear right now. When I was feeling like such an idiot and such a loser, to have someone who knows you, someone who knows you. This person, I've been friends with them for years and years and years. And he knew me, and to have someone say that. What was one thing that someone has said to you in your life, whenever it was, that was really meaningful, that was really moving, that really meant a lot to you? Tell us in the comment section below. This is a very interactive video. There's so many things that I'd love to hear from you so we can share in this one. The next one, you've heard me talk about this before if you have been watching my videos. To remind yourself when you are having thoughts and things going through your mind, telling yourself why you're not good enough and why you suck and why your life sucks and why everybody else sucks, or whatever it is, when you're in one of those funks, I want you to take a step back and I want you to remind yourself that you are not your thoughts. These thoughts going through your mind are not truths. Our thoughts are not truths all the time, and our feelings are not facts all the time. So remind yourself, these are just thoughts that are going through my head. Be that curious, compassionate observer of your thoughts. Notice yourself having this experience. Notice yourself thinking these things. Notice yourself having these words that are strung together in the form of sentences that you are making mean something. And speaking of this one, if you, this whole concept, if you're like, what are you talking about? Observe your thoughts. Just notice your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You're the thinker of your thoughts. What are you talking about, Julia? I want you to grab my 10-minute guided mindfulness audio exercise, and you're going to learn a little bit more about this. It's going to help this make a lot more sense if this is a brand new concept for you, to learn how to understand that we are the conscious being inhabiting these bodies and these brains who is having these thoughts and feelings, that we are not our feelings and we are not our thoughts. We are the thinker of our thoughts, and we are the feeler of our feelings. So to be able to take a little bit of a step back from it and notice what's happening instead of getting all caught up and twisted around and finagled into what's happening. I've also put this list on my Instagram feed and also on my Facebook page. I will put the links to both below so that after, if you ever need to go back and remind yourself of these ones, you can go to those links. You can screenshot it, you can save it, you can do whatever you want. So you can literally pull it out of your back pocket and look at it for the next time and go through the list, pick the 1 or 2 or 3 or 7 that you want to do and go through them to turn that mood around. I am so glad that you are here. I love being able to connect with all of you. I love being able to share with you and to be on this journey of growth and of healing and of being ourselves, our best selves, our authentic selves, our true selves. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, come and join my Facebook group, goodformegroup.com. See you in there. Take good care.